Hey guys, SoloBase15 here with round 1 of the exhibition matchup. So before we get started, let's take a look at my opponent and what I'm looking at before we even start the fight. So the first thing we're going to look at is the speed mods. And here you can see his top end are right in line with mine, while when we look at the plus 10 and the plus 15, I seem to have a pretty sizable advantage over him. That leads into the bottom category, the top 10 characters by speed. And looking at this category is going to help show you where they're focusing and what teams they're really putting their efforts into. Finally, on this part of the screen, I'm going to look at the G12 number and Zetas, because that's who you're going to fight. Now let's look at his Revan teams. You can see here his Jedi Knight Revan and his Grandmaster Yoda both have speed, while his Darth Revan and his Badstilla are going to have a little less speed than me, which, as you probably know at this point, is going to give me an advantage against them. So how does that affect my decision making? Well, in both cases, I have the advantage, so if I can keep my teams for offense, it means I'm likely going to be able to beat his two Revans if he keeps them for defense. Now, my opponent put Jedi Knight Revan front and center, and I usually like to start off with the toughest battle in each zone. That way it gives me confidence that I can clear the rest of his teams. So what we're going to see in this battle is he uses Old Ben, which really is not as good as General Kenobi. And I'm going to end up using Ezra. The reason I do that is because when you're on offense with Jedi Knight Revan, you really don't need the extra defense from Kenobi. And Kenobi's better in the Padme squad anyway. So what Ezra is going to do is he's another person to call GMY for an assist. He can clear buffs with his special. And more importantly, he's just going to flat out add offense to the team. The added offense is going to be big because this isn't like when I was running Revan in Arena and you have the super offense mods on Yoda. Still have him over 6,000 special damage, but it's just not the same when you're trying to tear through the enemy's Jolie as when you had the Arena mods. So having the extra offense with Ezra is going to help you cut through Jolie and not get into a timeout situation. My other option here is Plo, who I also have and run in this team as well. But since I have such a speed advantage on his Revan, and I'm able to get out quick at the beginning, I decided to go for the extra offense rather than the extra turn meter. As you can see in this battle, I've been able to take out Yoda, and then more importantly, I was able to get to Jolie, so before he could bring Yoda back. And that's huge, because at this point, now that Jolie's gone, there's really no more threat left in this team. So what I'm going to try and do is just try and take the other team out efficiently and try and max my banners. I was able to end this fight with only Jolie losing protection, which is going to become big as you see as this GA goes on, because not every battle was as easy as this first one. So the next one we lead into is the Carth Old Republic team. And I'm going to use Padme here because it's basically a guaranteed 60 banners, and I'm going to need the efficiency thanks to his other teams. It's always a risk using your two best teams on a front zone, but at the same time, you don't want to paralyze your roster by trying to beat this team with a weaker team and losing banners because of it. So I trust my offensive teams, so I just have to go with what's going to get me the max banners at the start. So you're going to see that I'm clearing through this team very quickly, and I'm going to end the first zone with only missing one banner, which is really starting strong in a game where the amount of banners you get is the most important thing. One note about team composition here. 3PO's Confuse is what stops Zalbar from gaining Taunt and Retribution, which lets you then attack Mission directly and get her out of the way before she even gets going. Once you do that, you've won against Carth. So that win opens up the top back, but I want to see the whole board, so I'm going to go to the front of the bottom, which you see First Order and Droids. Now, I'm choosing to go against First Order first because I like my JTR team and I know it's going to work against them. So my first moves here are going to be to stealth everyone but L3 and then use JTR to get the taunt off Kylo. That's going to let me attack their weakest member and very quickly make this a 5v4. Now, I'm able to go so fast, and the droids move so quickly because I'm using L3 as a tank here. And thanks to BB-8's unique, it just gives an extra 8% turn meter, plus L3 is one of the best tanks out there. So she's really going to help keep this team alive. This is not an ideal First Order team that I'm facing because they're using TIE Pilot instead of Officer. And Officer really is an important component of this team. Even with that said, thanks to the turn meter advantage from all the droids, Officer is usually going to be out of the game before he even starts anyway. So I next really want to get Fox down because he's going to be a huge damage dealer and dispeller. And the two Kylos and Stormtrooper just don't provide that much of a threat. Masked Kylo has the potential to be a threat, but not when the AI is using him, because he just focuses on doing the AoE and feeding his team turn meter when the computer controls him, and that takes away his ability to be a threat. So I'm going to be able to take out Stormtrooper here, and then I'm just going to ability block him, and he's kind of a sitting duck at that point. So here we go again. This is now my third fight, and you're going to see another huge win for me in saving banners, which, as I said earlier, is going to be key because my next fight is not going to be anywhere near as easy. Next, I'm going to take out that droid team, and as you can see here, it's not the ideal droid team because it's using T3 and 88 rather than the other Separatist droids. So Magna's not going to be there to hide him. So I decide I'm going to use Traya on this team to isolate B2 and take his threat out of the game. At the same time, I go in with 4 here because what I'm hoping to do is, 1, get some extra banners because Traya doesn't regenerate any protection, but 2, there's the feat for the undermanned win, and that's what we're going to try and go after. Unfortunately for me, you're going to see why the Grievous droids are such a threat, and why it's dangerous using a Traya undermanned team. Because what's happening here is, every time a Separatist takes a turn, B1 is going to assist. And as you can see, he is slowly taking down my Scion every time a turn is taken. Now, that's going to be dangerous for me because losing a character is going to lose a large amount of banners. And as you can see there, he's gone. And next is going to be Sith Assassin. I do good at taking out Grievous because he takes out the biggest threat on the team. But here comes the AoE that kills Assassin. So I went in with an undermanned team to try and get extra banners. And really what happened is I lost 2 members of my team losing those extra banners. That doesn't help me as I'm trying to win. But at the same time, it helps me when I'm trying to advance in leagues because completing that feat is going to give me the extra points, and hopefully those extra points will add up over time of completing feats to get me advancing in the league quicker and quicker. So as I finish this team off, you're going to see I only got 53 banners, so it's a gamble, and hopefully one that pays off when everything is said and done. Now that clears out my front bottom, so we can see the entire board at this point. My lowest geared attack team is my Imperial Troopers, and they're a good team, but I need to find an opponent for them to take out, and as you can see, the bottom back zone had Bounty Hunters and Night Sisters. This zone on the top has a Separatist team, and we also have a Scoundrel team. So if I'm going to take anyone out with my troopers, it's going to be the Separatist team. Now, you don't see it in the video, but what I did before I entered this battle is I checked the health and protection of all the members of the team, and Soldier was the lowest. So that's why I attacked him first, to really get the turn meter going. Now, this is not an ideal Separatist team, but the big threats are still going to be Newt with his extortion, and then you have Dooku, as you can see here, who's just going to attack and attack and attack. He's going to stun, and he's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to try and do, and what I am successful in doing, thankfully, is clearing out the Geos before I get to Dooku. Because once they're gone, Dooku's the only threat, and a 5v1 I have a pretty good chance at. Now, Sun Fac is the tank, and he's not easy to kill, but my team's able to get it done here. Now, since both Dooku and Spy were stealthed, we take out Spy, leading to the easy kill of Dooku. And the nice part about Troopers are they recover protection with every kill, which is going to give me the 60 banners and really help along with the victory. So I have 3 teams left, and Darth Revan is overpowered against all of them. I saved him for the back zones just in case his Darth Revan was on defense. He wasn't, so I'm going to take Darth Revan against Nest because Nest can get annoying and Darth Revan's really not threatened by him. Now, Badstilla and HK take out the entire team in basically 2 moves, so really it's just getting Nest down at this point, which as you can see isn't a problem. He's already almost dead, and my Revan team is in really good shape. The nice thing is HK, Bastilla, and Bastilla through Revan are going to recover protection as they go along, which is going to help me maximize my banners. As we wait for Nest to die, because he will, it's a good time to talk about why I go so heavy on offense. I keep both Revans, I have Padme, I have JTR, Traya, and I do this because the name of the game is clearing the board. A lot of the feats come with clearing your opponent. Winning comes from maximizing your banners, and the easiest way to maximize your banners is to clear the board. And I'm trying to do it with teams that regen protection to once again maximize my banners. And so that's why I'm going to go so heavy on offense. Now we've cleared the back zone. We have 2 teams left. The tougher of the 2 teams is going to be the Night Sister team by far. And as you'll see, this is actually going to be the team that gives me the most trouble in this round anyway. I'm going in with my bounty hunters, and the reason I'm doing that is because Dengar is going to heal them and avoid any plague. I have the Jango Zeta, so he's going to be able to kill one of the Night Sisters, and they can't be revived by the zombie mechanic. Same thing is going to be true for Baba, in that if he executes one of the Night Sisters, they're not going to be revived. Finally, this team also has Embo, and what Embo is going to do is he's going to dispel the taunt on Zombie, which lets you go after Daka, because she's your first threat in the team. My opponent's team is actually geared and modded very well, so this was never going to be an easy fight, but I'm also running into some bad luck here because you can see almost my entire team gets stunned at once. So my team basically loses a turn, and that's when they get to start running wild. My next problem, as you can see, is we are a minute into this, and I still haven't been able to activate a contract. And that's going to cause me a lot of problems, and it's actually going to cost me Embo. Because as you can see, he was stunned, so he lost a turn. Then Spirit goes after him. I can't keep the taunt up on Bosk, and Embo isn't long for this battle. These next 2 attacks take out Embo, and I clear my ability to remove the taunt from Zombie. And also, it's 1 less person for the damage to be spread around by. Get a little unlucky with the execute not taking out Daka there. Luckily, she had the healing immunity, but I can't get to her because I can't clear Zombie's taunt. And that's a little bit on me as well, because I really didn't do a good job in this fight of controlling Zombie, because you don't want her to get the 2 stacks of speed, because then she just keeps taking turns and keeps taunting. So here I've finally taken out Daka, but the problem is they've taken out my Baba, and I'm getting stunned left and right. So it's 4 on 3. Luckily, I still have Jango here, and he's going to need to become my savior if I'm going to win this. We're 2.5 minutes in here. I've lost 2 team members. I haven't completed a contract, so it's time to change that. Jango kills Zombie, completes the contract at the same time. It clears her taunt and lets Dengar and Bosk attack Asajj. And that's going to be key because now we're going to try and bring it to a 3 on 3. Unfortunately, Zombie's speed gets her taunting again. But that's the beauty of Jango in that he can avoid the taunt. He kills Asajj, which means she can't be revived, and it's 3 on 3, just Spirit versus Talzin. Dengar's there with the AoE constantly to keep healing my team, And now it's just a race to who can kill who quicker. Lucky for me, after this Talzin AoE, Django's got a straight shot at Talzin and is able to take her out. So the 3-on-2, now I finally start to feel comfortable with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, though this fight is nowhere near over because Zombie's going to be taunting and I have to somehow get to Spirit, who's also going to develop Foresight. It also doesn't help that I use Dengar and mess up without attacking Spirit at that point, and probably made my life a little harder. This is basically going to go on for another minute, and you're going to see why Spirit is so good in this team. She's fast, she hits like a truck, and the Foresight mixed with Zombie makes her very difficult to kill. So as you're developing your Night Sister teams, Nest is great, and it's always a good option, but Spirit's really what's going to cause difficulty for people. Not to mention, that's going to be what lets you use Nest with Kira on defense and cause everybody trouble. So here we go. About 4 minutes and 20 seconds later, I get 54 banners, and it was just an awful attack. There's one team left. It's Bounty Hunters. It's not an ideal Bounty Hunter team because they're using Greedo in it. They don't have Embo. They don't have Django in it. So our last team is going to be Palp. I'm going to throw in some Sith. I'm going to throw in Tarkin to try and reduce their critical hits. And we're going to finish this. This is not the ideal EP team and not the team that I want to be running in this situation. But I needed to borrow Death Trooper so I could add him to the Trooper squad and try and get the kill there. That worked out. Unfortunately, it means I have to throw Tarkin in, and my Tarkin just isn't up to snuff. I never used him in Fleet Arena, so he's sitting at G10. He's kind of tanky, but as you'll see throughout this fight, he's really not tanky enough for where I need him to try and maximize my banners in this final fight. My goal for this fight was to fracture Bossk and let me kill Greedo quickly, because those thermal detonators can really add up and steal your banners as you go along. Unfortunately, this Greedo was actually pretty tough, so I switched my focus to Baba. He's generally the biggest threat on this team, and so I'm going to try and kill him twice and get him out of the way. And as you can see, Baba's actually going down pretty quickly now that I switched tactics. So we're a minute in, and Baba's going to be down shortly. So their biggest threat is gone, and now what do I have to start worrying about? Well, Bossk is still there, and Greedo is still there. And they're their next two threats. So I'm going to fracture Bossk again, never letting him get the taunt off, and I'm going to kill Greedo to try and stop those thermal detonators. Because what I need to start doing is maximizing my units with protection to try and maximize my score. This team doesn't have a lot of natural protection regen, but it does have Thrawn. And so what Thrawn is going to start doing is using his ability to restore the protection on members that he can fill up. Offensively, we're fracturing Bossk to keep the taunt away. We've killed off the other team members, so now it's just really a formality of trying to restore protection and killing Bossk at the same time. Dengar is going to stay stealth, so he's going to be the last one that we're going to be able to kill. I know bounty hunters look like they can be difficult on defense, and it's certainly annoying when Bossk gets his taunt off and you can't kill Dengar, but their best use is on offense, because what they're going to do is they're going to regenerate all that protection from Bosk's lead. Now, my bounty hunters had a bad showing, so don't use this round as the indication. But just think about the lead and think about when you're coming up with your attack teams about how to maximize your banners, because that's what's going to get you the win. You're going to see here, I'm going to restore a little bit of protection. It's not enough. I cleared the last team. 56 banners probably shouldn't be good enough, but I've cleared his entire board, so let's look at what he did against me. And you'll see a bunch of one-shots. I'm going to win by 8 banners, though, because I use teams that regenerate protection. Who knows what could have happened if he saved some of his protection regen teams for offense. With that, that's this round. Have a good day.